Right now, we're awaiting an update on the execution of Ohio death row inmate ALVA Campbell. Now, state prison staff were scheduled to execute him this morning at 10 a.m. Now, Campbell is being put to death in Lucasville. It would bring an end to months of appeals from his lawyers and years of heartbreak for the loved ones of the teenager he killed. NBC4's Ted Hart joins us live from Lucasville this morning. Ted, what can you tell us?
Well, the execution was scheduled for 10 o'clock this morning, but it wasn't until 10:45 that media witnesses inside the prison were receiving their instructions. Prison officials insist that there is no delay, rather just that they are taking their time. Now, according to prison officials, Campbell slept through the night, and then this morning he spent some time meeting with his attorneys, with a prison religious services officer, as well as watching television. Outside the prison today, protesters gathered to mark yet another controversial execution here in the state of Ohio. The first such execution involving a Franklin County case in more than a decade. Now, ALVA Campbell had an extensive history of violent crimes. In fact, he was on parole for one murder when he committed a series of armed robberies and then the 1997 carjacking and murder of 18-year-old Charlie Dials in Columbus. Franklin County prosecutor Ron O'Brien has referred to ALVA Campbell as the poster child for the death penalty, but Campbell's attorneys had argued recently that Campbell was too sick to be executed. The U.S. Supreme Court rejected that argument yesterday. Now, just a few minutes ago, we talked to one of the protesters, LASHAWN, whose husband was on death row until he was eventually exonerated, and here's what she had to say.
Even though this man did what he did, and it was definitely wrong, I don't think that the way that they're deciding to execute him is the right way. It's not justice. To me, it's more of an eye for an eye. You know, I think that everyone involved will have to suffer behind this. The prison guards, everyone.
And the death penalty opponents are tolling a bell to mark the occasion of this execution. Now, you know, we know that ALVA Campbell was to be given a pillow to prop him up in order to help him breathe while they then executed him. We also know that prison officials had said earlier that that finding a vein was a challenge, although the most recent information we had indicated prison officials thought that that would not be a problem this morning. But again, we are still waiting for word from inside the prison here on exactly the status of Mr. Campbell. Again, he was scheduled for execution at 10. As of 10:45, media witnesses were just receiving their briefing then. We'll have the latest from Lucasville later on this edition of NBC4 News and also on later editions throughout the day. Live in Lucasville, Ted Hart, NBC4.